Yeah.
Now you know which
Morning,
way the market is
Facebook
going. Let's
folks.
find
What's
out how your
up?
traffic is flowing. This is Business 1110 Traffic.
We have a disabled 18-wheeler on 290 Northwest, inbound at Highway 6. It's in the right lane. It's created, well, it's just added to the delays that were already on the Northwest Freeway coming in. They're not going to unwind anytime soon. It's 15 minutes back from Barker Cypress. On 290 Northwest, outbound at 43rd, we have a breakdown in the left lane with a 7-minute delay from Mangum. And downtown on 59 East X, inbound before 45, you have a wreck in the left lane. It's at least 10 minutes back from Lorain. On the Diesel Houston traffic.
I'm the Diesel.
This is Nate Murphy, General Manager at Fred Haas Toyota World. Due to the high demand for vehicles,
How do I get a cool nickname like that?
I know, right?
Right?
We have over 600 used cars ready for immediate
How'd he get
delivery.
that cool
Visit us
nickname?
at Fred Haas Toyota World,
I have no
I-45
idea. He
north
used to
of
be
Pelham.
a wrestling
Are you living
announcer,
with pain?
Oh, yeah?
I was.
like
after a nasty
WWE
fall.
type
I
stuff.
got
Oh,
relief
yeah?
with 1 hour pain relief. I'm
Oh,
Barry
yeah,
Arconi,
the real
president.
stuff.
And here's Lisa, a Marine who was injured in Iraq.
Whatever.
After surviving an explosion, I was on horrible painkillers for lingering head,
Morning,
shoulder,
Andy.
back, and knee pain. But I hated the dangers and side effects. My friend told me about 1 hour pain relief, and now I'm off the drugs.
Oh, man.
1 hour pain relief is the result of 15 years of research on an amazing
Wait, isn't 1 hour
extract
pain
from
relief a
hops,
drug?
The plant used to flavor beer.
Whether your pain is from an injury or just aging, you get safe, all-day relief in less than 1 hour.
We're so sure you'll love 1 hour pain relief too that we'll send you a 1-week trial for just a small shipping charge. Call 800-269-4200 right now. That's 800-269-4200. There's no gimmicks, no obligation, no automatic shipments. Stop living with pain. Call 800-269-4200 for your 1-week trial or visit onehourpainrelief.com. That's 800-269-4200.
Somebody's on the Right Path page. I have no idea who it is because it's showing up as Right Path, and they're just saying howdy,
All
Tom.
down on paper.
I don't-
But once you've got
I don't know who that is.
manuscript, then what? Well, you can spend a year or more trying to
Uh-oh.
find a publisher, or you can cut right to
I
the
need to-
chase. Make your book real with Zulon Press.
Oh,
Finding
no.
a publisher is time-consuming and uncertain. With Zulon Press, things are quick and definite. They specialize in one thing, helping Christian authors put their books in print. Zulon
probably
Press
need
will
to
publish your book.
reboot
Zulon
my
Press gets it
computer.
into bookstores. Your book is on Amazon. Work with Zulon Press, and there's no question you are a published author.
See if
If
we
you're
can
writing a Christian
restart.
book, get your free publishing guide from Zulon Press. Just log on to ChristianPublishing.com.
Doesn't,
That's ChristianPublishing.com.
doesn't their
Zulon
network
Press.
own
Book publishing
Zulon?
by Christians for Christians.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, they own
Free
Zulon, right?
publishing guide at ChristianPublishing.com.
Yeah.
Zulon Press is a division of Salem
Oh,
Communications.
see, there you go.
The same people who bring
Yep.
you this nifty radio
This
station.
nifty
The
radio
following program
station.
does not necessarily
Isn't this
represent
nifty?
the views or opinions of the staff, management, or ownership of this station.
It's time to get on the right path with Right Path Real Estate Radio with Tom Perry. Get the answer to your question that's keeping you from taking action and succeeding today.
Welcome to the show. I feel like I'm not quite awake yet.
You didn't drink your Spark today?
I'm drinking it right now. It's right here.
Oh, okay.
But I don't have it in me yet.
Oh, yeah, yeah. All right, you ready to play radio?
I will be in 3, 2, 1.
All right, 3, 2, 1.
Welcome to the show. Welcome to the show. Right Path Real Estate Radio, 713-785-1817. Chris Johnson can be so funny. I'm looking at his post right now. 1 roll duct tape, $3.99. 1 can spray paint, $2.49. Problem solved. He's got this probably, I don't know, judging by where the switches are on the wall, it's probably, I don't know, 2 feet wide and needs to go 4 foot up. Just this big old mold patch on the sheetrock. That's funny. That's funny stuff right there. And yeah, you're listening to Right Path Real Estate Radio, 713-785-1817. We are a call-in show if you want to call in. Or a lot of people, what they do is they follow us on the Book of Faces. And they just go to Right Path Real Estate on the Book of Faces. They can type in questions. I'm actually trying to get there right now on my computer. I had to reboot my computer right before got up and going. So here we go. I'm up and going now on Facebook. So if you want to say, give a shout out, you want to ask a question, any of that kind of stuff. Yeah, it says audio is on AM 1110. Does anyone read lips? I don't know why we're not having audio. Well, Sometimes what I'll tell you is sometimes it's slow or something like that. Let's see, unable to hear the audio via Facebook Live. That's going to be an Andy fix, and so I can't fix that because I show all meters going on. And most of the time when people have told me that, all you got to do is turn off your Facebook, reboot, and get it back on, and it should be up and going. So hopefully that'll fix it. So 713-785-1817. I can't adjust the technology or any of that. So here's what I can tell you is there's a lot of folks out there that I've been talking to over the last couple of days. Some of our students, some people that are looking at entering real estate as an investing vehicle. That's kind of weird. Oh, you know what it is? Hold on a second. That's... Okay, that was very tricky. So I'm gonna leave Facebook alone for right now because I'm reading. Apparently, I clicked on the wrong one because I noticed, hey, that's not the shirt I'm wearing today. So I didn't pop up the most current one. There we go. Now I'm on the right one. Okay, so there's people that are struggling with how do you evaluate properties post flood. And they said, hey, is the same 70% minus repair still going to work? And the answer is yes, sort of. So understand that the 70% minus repairs, what that's a shortcut to. It's really a shortcut. Jason's mentioned this before, that it's a shortcut for lenders. It's what most lenders will lend as a hard money lender. And they'll actually lend up to 75%, some of them 75%. Minus repairs, and they'll escrow the repair numbers, right? And so where that comes from, though, if you really look at it, is if you build in 10% for closing cost and then 10% for holding cost and 10% for profit off of the ARV. So let's say you're dealing with a $300,000 house. Well, 10% of that is $30,000 for closing costs. So you've got 3% for the realtor on the buy side, 3% for the realtor on the sell side, 2% for all the escrow fees, doc prep fees, attorney fees, and then the title insurance as well, and then another 2% for what we call negotiation after the sale. Then you've got your 10%. So that's 10% on the closing cost. Then you've got 10% on holding cost. Now, depending on how long you're going to hold the property, obviously if you're in and out really quickly, your holding costs are going to be less. But on an average flip, where you're buying a $300,000 house. 70% of that's $210. It needs $60,000 in work. You're buying it for $150. The $60,000 of the work is going to take you about 2 months. And then once you spend the 2 months, doing the rehab, then you're going to put it on the market for 30, 60, 90 days. And then, so that's 2 months plus 3 months. That's 5 months. And then 2 months to close. So you're going to hold it for 7 months. And if your cost of money is somewhere around 1% a month, plus maybe a point or two on the front for closing costs, and then you take out your taxes for property taxes, your insurance, utilities, your HOA, all those kind of things, you're at about 10% on holding cost on average. But keep in mind that, imagine it instead of a $60,000 rehab, it's a $150,000 rehab. Now you're going to be holding it for 5 months just on the construction, so your holding time is going to go longer. Or what if you're paying like 3 points and 15% on your money because you're new and you're a much higher risk or something like that? Then your holding costs can be more than 10%. So that 70% minus repairs is just a guideline. And so here's where the adjustments need to be made, in my opinion, when you're sitting down with a seller, talking to them about what the numbers are going to be. Well, the first off is that if it's a flooded house, I don't know that anybody can believe that if you've got a house, even if it's never flooded, and it's flooded one time, it has flooded. So if you say, well, there's houses that have flooded and there are houses that haven't flooded. So let's say you're entering the market right now to buy a house. And let's say that it's 6 months from now that you want to buy a house. And you've got two houses that you're considering. They're in the same neighborhood. One house flooded and the other house didn't. Which house do you want to buy? Most people are going to say, I want to buy the flooded house. Unless they can buy they're going to buy the unflooded house, sorry. And unless they can buy the flooded house at a discount. There's some price. But what is that? Is that $500? No, it's not $500. Is that $1,000? Is it $2,000? Depends on the price of the house, right? Depends on the neighborhood. Depends on the price of the house. Depends on a lot of other factors. Is it close to a busy street? All of those things come into play. So it's not really, this is where we talk about that comps aren't always science. I know there's a lot of you, engineer type, scientific folks. it's not an exact science. It's part art. So what you're really trying to anticipate is what's the economic impact? What's that supply and demand curve look like down the road when you've fully rehabbed that property? And I start getting real conservative. If I think that it was $300,000 before the flood, man, I'm going to start with a minimum of 10% and see, do I feel comfortable at $270, trying to sell the house once it's fully rehabbed for $270? Do I think that there's going to be a market for that in the future? Because if I'm wrong, hey, it's money out of my pocket. So I want to take as much risk out of the equation as I possibly can. And so that's really what I'm doing. So maybe that's, if it's not 270, maybe it's 260, maybe it's 250, maybe it's 249.9. I mean, so that's the first thing that you've got to determine. Then the second thing that you've got to determine is what economic impact is the rehab number going to be. So let's say in the area, you know that you could have done the house if it hadn't have been flooded for $30 a foot. Well, now really what you're adding is you're adding the sheetrock, because you wouldn't have done that typically anyway before. But oftentimes on a $30 foot rehab, we're already replacing the doors, we're already replacing the flooring that's not tile, and in many cases we're replacing the tile as well. We're replacing the appliances, we're replacing a lot of the plumbing, fixtures, light fixtures, those kind of things. So the fact that the house is flooded, the only thing that it's really changing is that 4 foot of sheetrock and any kind of mold remediation that needs to be done, things like that. So maybe it's an extra, $5 or $6 or $7 a square foot. Here's the thing, though. We really don't know yet what the impact is going to be on the price of the labor for crews over the long haul, or if there's going to be any economic impact in terms of the materials that are being manufactured and those kind of things. So should you build in a margin of error, maybe 5% increase or 10% increase, or the length of time that it's going to take for those jobs to get done because crews are busier? There's not as much capacity. Like if we want to use Fast Track's really busy right now. Do we need to book out not being able to get on their schedule for 2 weeks and add an extra half a month or something like that? There's going to be an economic cost to that. And then, and so that's going to increase your hold time. So you've got your construction cost that's going to be increased and potentially, and then you've got the hold time cost. Because once you finish with the construction time, what about all the other things that need that affect the construction time, or once the construction's, well, I'll give you an example. Let's say I need to get permits done from the city. Is there the capacity with all this new construction going on that should be getting permitted? That's not like they've hired 1,000 permit inspectors or anything like that. So is it going to take more days to get the permit out? And then appraisers are backed up and inspectors are backed up. And I mean, there's a lot. I mean, everybody's getting ready to be real busy. And if they're not already. And so should you be building in extra time as it relates to all that? So these are some of the questions we've been answering for our students. And all I can say is the people, my opinion is the people that jump in immediately, I know that every investor sees this as an opportunity that we've been talking to and all that. It's like they're very eager to get started. What I realize is that the investors that are jumping in right now with their eagerness and their enthusiasm and things like that, a lot of them are not discounting enough and when I hear the numbers that things are wholesaling at and things like that for flooded houses. I think it's different if you're talking about non-flooded houses. But when we're talking about flooded houses, I think that people are overpaying right now, and that the real deals are going to be 20, 30, 45 days or more from now, because I believe that the sellers of a lot of these houses, the reality of their situation hasn't hit yet. And so there's not as much inventory on the market right now as there's going to be. You've got some people that are jumping in really quickly and just throwing up their hands saying, hey, I'm not going to do anything, with my house. I just want to walk away. But the people that are, that are going to find themselves in a situation, a month from now or 6 weeks from now, I think that the crescendo, the big tidal wave is coming. And once the market starts getting flooded, no pun intended, with more and more properties that are on the market, when there's more sellers than there are buyers, prices go down. And I think that if investors are going to have the ability to hold these properties for 2, 3, 4 years, there is a potential windfall. Again, weather term not want to keep weather terms out of this, but there's a potential windfall situation in the marketplace that's unlike any situation I've seen in a really long time. I can't say ever, but it's been a really long time. And so we see this as an incredible opportunity. Jeremy, I'm going to get to your question on the other side of the break. You're listening to Right Path Real Estate Radio, 713-785-1817. Give us a call or go to the Book of Faces, Right Path Real Estate, and like our Facebook page and follow along with the conversation.
Mike's off.
Did you know that there are over $24 trillion in retirement accounts in the U.S.? Imagine if you could use someone's IRA to fund all of your deals. Well, you can. Quest IRA is based locally here in Houston, Texas. At Quest IRA, we offer retirement accounts that can be used to invest
Daniel,
in
I
real
agree
estate,
wholeheartedly.
promissory notes, private entities, and much more. Many of our clients loan money from their IRAs to fund real estate deals all over the country. We don't sell any investments or give advice. However, we do hold free networking events, weekly educational classes, and free consultations with an IRA.
Yeah, on the audio stuff, guys,
For more
I
information,
apparently had clicked
visit
on the
our
wrong
website
one, and I
at
looked down, I'm like, hey, that's a Right Path shirt I'm wearing,
or
not
call
the
us at
kind of peachy color that I'm wearing today.
1-855-FUN-IRAs to tap
And
into
I'm
the
like, wait, that's not me from today. And I was,
in
so
retirement accounts
that's
in
what
the
was throwing me
US.
off on the
Call Quest IRA
on the
at
context.
1-855-FUN-IRAs or go to our website, questira.com.
Do you have cracks in your brick, doors that stick, or sheetrock that's coming apart? Then you may have foundation movement. Due to our expansive soils in the Houston area, it's probably not a question of if you have movement, but when. Call Foundation Check for a truly independent, unbiased foundation evaluation. Foundation Check has been in business since 2009 and has completed over 1,400 evaluations. We're not in the business of repairing foundations or selling you unnecessary peer work, but we are in the business of evaluating
I almost feel like I need
your
to
foundation.
during
Our product is designed for house
during
flippers,
their commercials. I
landlords,
ought to switch
or
the background. What do y'all think?
even owner-occupied properties. Each of our files is reviewed by a licensed
It's only really for the
engineer.
Facebook folks.
Remember to check before every repair. Call
I think I hear him.
702
The man, the myth, the legend. Sorry, it's locked. Here, I'll reach around. I'm not.
3825, or you can reach us online at foundationcheck.com. That's foundationcheck.com.
Are you expecting to close accurately, on time, and with lots of communication on your home purchase? You
Was that
come to the
Jason?
right
Yeah.
place.
Yeah, he just
I'm
walked in.
Jennifer Hernandez,
Is he sitting in
Senior
for
Loan
the
Officer
next
with
segment or
Legacy
no?
Mutual
Yeah, he is.
Mortgage. Our
Yeah.
goal
Okay.
is to give our
gonna
borrowers
sit in
and
for the next
referral
segment.
partners an amazing
Yeah, I like your new
experience during
profile
the loan
picture from this
process.
morning.
My team believes in putting people and culture before results. Our company concentrates on building
Yeah.
those teams who operate with structure, process, and recognition for going the extra mile for you. This way, we have the energy to make this your best home purchase ever. Give us a call today to find out the simple
Oh,
steps
you
to
like
get
sitting here
started.
changing the
I'm Jennifer
background,
Hernandez.
don't you?
Yeah.
It's like gives you something to do during the break, huh?
Legacy
Sure,
Mutual
why not?
Mortgage. Jennifer.
Just add another level of professionalism.
Professionalism's overrated.
Right.
Man, I'm always blown away by how bright
I know,
these
right?
things are.
Yeah,
some of them.
We can't wait to consult with you soon.
So, some of them you do that and they go.
No. Oh, it doesn't work.
Right.
Only the highest quality Chinese-made pens for Right Path Real Estate.
Right.
Then call Fast Track Remodeling at 832-742-9992 or reach us on the web at
So last night watching the football game,
Yeah.
Fast Track Remodeling
because our meeting was kind of light, so
Yeah.
I'm like, let's just get this going, so
Right.
at least we can get something out of this evening. So I'm sitting there watching the game, and I'm like, I thought we were playing the Browns, and then somebody says they started talking about Andy Dalton. I'm like, did Dalton get traded? And I looked up, I was like, oh, we're playing Cincinnati.
Right.
I don't know why I thought we were playing the Browns. So, anyways, I was out of it.
I thought our offense was pretty bad, but Cincinnati's was.
And complete the work in a proper order. So
It's gonna be a long
Spectacular
season.
bad. It's gonna be a long season for them boys.
For Cincinnati, right?
When I sat down, we were at the hotel bar, and somebody says, "Hey, Jason, we were talking about the game. Like, this is going to be a great game." I'm like, "Great game," because it's like watching toddlers box or what? I mean, it's like,
or reach us on the web at Fast Track Remodeling.
Yeah.
All right,
It's
fellas,
gonna be
we're
And we
coming
have
back.
New England coming up.
yeah, it's gonna
that'll be
brutal.
different.
It'll be.
Call Jason or Tom at 713-785-1817 or look for us on Facebook
All right,
Live
fellas.
at
Hot mics in 3, 2, 1.
Hey, welcome back. Right Path Real Estate Radio, 713-785-1817. JB got off the plane. He entered the studio. He's in the house. So if you want to give us a call, ask any kind of questions, we're open for business. We're also so here's I want to give out some key numbers. 713-785-1817 is our call-in number. If you need to ask us a question like in general business, or you want to schedule an appointment with Jason or I or things like that, support at rightpathrealestate.com. And those kind of things will happen. Also, if you want to find out about our upcoming events, like our next event that you're going to be at is going to be Saturday down in Corpus at the Rudy's Barbecue, as I understand it. It's about raising. It's a private money lenders raising event, right?
Yep.
It's the Corpus Christi RIA that's going to be down there, and then also if you go to Facebook.com and you like our Right Path Real Estate page, then you can follow along with a video. And I always think it's funny when I go to networking events and people go, yeah, man, I watch your radio show all the time.
Yeah, I watch the radio show.
Yeah, I watch the radio show, and it's a great century that we're living in.
Yeah.
And so some people are, instead of calling in 713-785-1817, they actually go to the Book of Faces. We're following along in the chat. So Jeremy's asked the question, hi, Tom, would you ever do a 12-month HML for a flood house? If so, how would that look? So HML, hard money loan. One of the things you got to learn when you become a real estate investor, you got to learn the lingo, right? So
got to be hip. Got to sound like the
Would I
cool
do
kids.
a 12-month hard money loan? Yeah, I mean, there's probably some questions I would say. Are you asking about making one or taking one? The answer is yes on both of those, but it depends on the terms. I mean, keep in mind that we've done 5-year, not on flooded houses, but we've done 5-year loans on deals, but. Most of our deals right now are what's really the difference between a hard money loan and a private money loan? There's really no difference. The difference is that there's a lot of what we call hard money lending here in Houston is really they're companies that are in the business of lending, where they've got staff and underwriting and a whole formalized process. But it's no different when you have a private money lender. And, I know private money lenders where their rates are more than hard money lenders, and I know private money lenders where their rates are less than hard money lenders. But really, a hard money loan, what the essence of that is it's an asset-based loan, right? So it's anything that's not FHA. It's not a mortgage where you've got, a declining balance and all that, where it's amortized over time, right? So anything short-term where it's interest-based and it's based on the asset value, almost like a pawn shop loan. It's not based on the credit of the person. It's not based on the income of the person. It's based on the asset. So you're lending like 70% of the asset or 75% of the asset value. Would I do that long term? Yeah, we've got a Galveston Beach house right now that we've got essentially a 5-year interest only hard money loan, essentially through a private money lender.
And speaking of that house, we just got the we protested the taxes.
Cut in half.
Yeah, cut in half.
We went from an appraised value of 145 to 72.5, I think, something like that.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
I love it.
Right?
I love it.
Yeah. So yeah, if you're not hiring somebody to protest your taxes, then you're making some major mistakes. Yeah, because even like your house, your personal residence, they protested and did
55 or 60%. It was crazy.
Yeah, they did it at the purchase price, which was the pre-rehab purchase price, right? And the fact that you put $120,000 of the rehab into the house, that they didn't account any of that value.
Don't tell them the address.
Yeah, we're not. So and it can't. Anyhow. So then Daniel also says, hey, even the non-flooded houses are affected in terms of time. The construction time, permit time, appraisal time, et cetera, all still need to be considered when making offers on non-flooded properties as well. Yeah, that's exactly right. I mean, essentially what's happening is if you're an investor out there buying houses, it's almost like you're entering the insurance business because, insurance is really all about risk transfer, right? Mm-hmm. And so you're becoming the insurer of price fluctuation in the future, right? Because you're assuming all of that risk in that point. Mm-hmm. And that's really, some of y'all have a skill set about anticipating risk and all of that kind of stuff. But, insurers, what you'll find is, yeah, they take on risk, but it is very calculated and they are very, very conservative. When you really look at how actuaries work and all that, man, these guys they are not going to lose money. And so you need to adopt a philosophy that you're a risk taker, but it's a calculated risk where it's on the very conservative side of things.
Well, one of the old jokes, because I used to be in the risk management world,
yes, you did,
is that the reason some people became CPAs and accountants is because they had a personality, so they couldn't be an actuary.
Yeah, right.
That was the joke, right? It's like, well, I couldn't be an actuary because I actually have a personality.
I can talk to people at a bar.
Yeah, exactly. So that's kind of the old joke there. I did a video yesterday, kind of a rant before I jumped on the plane and zipped up to Dallas about what's going to happen in some of these markets. And some people are disagreeing with me. Here's what's going to happen. Houses that are getting sold now in neighborhoods that are flooded, you're not going to see that impact until those distressed assets hit the market.
Correct.
And they're not on the market yet. But when they do, and if there's a whole bunch of them, I can guarantee you that an appraiser is going to have to include that, much like the foreclosure crisis. Remember back in the day, you had to include one distressed sale in the appraisal, which brought appraisals down. You go into you go to Ponderosa Forest. Are you telling me Ponderosa Forest right now isn't going to have some non-rehabbed flooded houses on the market?
Absolutely.
Absolutely it will. And that's going to have an incredible negative impact. LT went and looked at 2 houses up near Cypress Creek, 4,500 square foot. Another one was like 5,300 square foot. Typically in that neighborhood, days on market, 120, 130 days. And that's no big deal for us. We'd be more than happy to carry something that long as we made a good deal on it, right? The problem is there are a ton of those other houses that have been flooded.
Yeah.
So how long is it going to sit on the market? What
Maybe
kind of
2
price
years.
haircut? Yeah. I mean, he was sitting there looking at some numbers, and he's like, some of these things may sit for 3-4 years before they get sold.
Yeah.
I mean, when you dump 3 to 4 years of inventory on the market, you're telling me there's not going to be a financial impact to the appraisal? Come on, dude. So Bear Creek's another example. I mean, start going down all these flooded Cinco Ranch.
Nod, wink, wink. I don't think there'll be any financial impact.
Yeah, whatever.
Y'all go ahead and believe that.
Y'all figure that out.
Run your business based on that assumption, and let's see how you are in 2 or 3 years.
Let's see how you do in 12 months when I'm buying those things from your hard money lender as a non-performing note.
Well, I mean, we know of investors here in town that have, when we've been on stage speaking in front of a group or something like that, we're like, hey, margin matters. Margin matters. Oh, I can't really get a deal like that. You don't really have to buy at 70% minus repairs. You can still make money doing 80%. I mean, I'm thinking of one specific guy right now.
Yeah.
You probably know him. And I did see the guy post on Facebook right now, and he's basically asking because he didn't have flood insurance, and he's gone into new construction building on a lot of high end homes, and man, I'm worrying about the dude. He's a heck of a nice guy. We haven't agreed with the guy over a long period. I'm just wondering, is he going to survive?
I noticed the week after Harvey, and even now, the real estate investor Facebook groups in Houston have gone silent.
Yeah.
There are a lot of people that used to talk a lot on those groups, and they've gotten real quiet. And I think I was chatting with a couple of guys, and we know some people. I think there's going to be some folks. I think there's going to be some lenders taking back properties, and people are going to be filing for BK. I can already see it now. So it's going to get ugly in Houston. Some of these people speak in front of stages, and they're real estate gurus and all that. And I'm like, they're going to get hammered.
Actually even have groups.
Yeah, and I'm like, sorry, guys. I mean, you gotta. There's only one way to, and we talk about this the weekend retreat. By the way, I was chatting with Colby on the flight back. Our VIP is completely sold out.
I forgot to mention that.
VIP is completely sold out for the weekend retreat in Houston, and I got to check with Veronica. But I think the whole Houston event is sold out. I could be wrong. We got to check numbers and all that other stuff, but. So now, and that's like 4 months early. I predicted at some point here that our events would sell out like almost a month before. So if you guys want to see us, the next time you can see us is in Dallas, which is in October 20th through the 22nd, I think. Go to rightpathrealestate.com. But anyways.
Yeah, 20th through the 22nd. Yeah.
So we talk about this risk management technique in the weekend retreat. The only way to manage risk in real estate, there's only one way. Is to pay less for the property.
Purchase price.
Tom talks about
Purchase price.
Yeah, you talk about it on our free event, Solving for the Right X.
Yeah.
That's the only way to limit your risk. That's it.
Yeah, pay less money.
Pay less.
Yeah, have less money in the deal.
That's why we say there's not...
If you buy a house for $3,000, you're not taking a ton of risk. If you buy a house for $300,000, you're taking a lot more risk. Now, if you're buying a $2 million house for $300,000, maybe not taking as much risk, right?
Yeah.
But, so... The more money you pay for a house, the more risk you're taking.
Yeah, absolutely. Relative to its after repaired value, right?
Absolutely.
So it's real simple, guys. You want to limit your risk in this business, pay less for the asset. I get this question all the time. Jason, what happens?
But Jason, I can't get the seller to agree to that number.
You're right. You can't. That's why we buy 200 houses a year and you don't. Right. I mean, and that sounds harsh.
Yeah, so you say that so quickly, and I want to make sure that I slow that down because you're saying you're right. You can't.
You can't.
No, it's not like the universal you. That's the specific. If you say you can't do that, then we're saying, you know what, you're right. You lack the skill set to do that. Yeah. You lack the skill set, not the universal you.
And that's what
not that it can't be done. It's that you
don't have the skill set.
And this, I love the Jim Rohn saying, don't wish that life were easier. Wish that you were better. Mm-hmm. And so that means that you just need to. The good news is you can improve that skill set. You know, I've never believed. I know for a fact no brain surgeon's ever been born.
That's right.
I mean, that's a skill set.
That's a learned skill set.
No one pops out of mom, you know, saying, "Okay, I'm a brain surgeon.
Let's get this going.
I was born to be a brain surgeon."
Yeah.
I believe the same thing about salespeople.
That's right.
Sales is a skill that you learn. People said, "Oh, Tom, you're a natural-born sales guy." No, pisses me off.
There's a whole lot of training.
Right.
And it's like flipping houses. It's like raising money. And speaking. Like I used to be one of those folks that didn't like to get up in front of a group, and now I'm like, hey, bring 10,000. I'll talk to all of them. I don't care.
Hey, you're listening to Right Path Real Estate Radio. Join the conversation, 713-785-1817.
Mic's off, guys.
Thanks. Hey, will you turn your mic up just a little bit so I can hear you over the background?
Yeah, you hear me?
Yeah.
Time is money in a real estate deal.
Thank you.
If your insurance company is slow or non-responsive, you could lose a deal like that. You need a quick
there was a terrorist attack in London?
Insurance Group of Texas. The team at Benchmark understands the investor mindset. They know what you need.
Wait, there was a bucket bomb?
We're here for you.
22 hospitalized.
Oh, jeez.
There's a knife man.
Bundling your properties.
Yeah, I'll tell you, in Texas, we don't have a whole lot of stabbings.
Yeah,
because that guy gets cut down. Even shootings. I mean, we don't.
Contact Benchmark about our exclusive investor.
My favorite Texas story to tell, I should have told it when I was in LA, when they had that ISIS loser that showed up to that Muhammad drawing contest.
Yeah.
And the guy was going to try and gun down all these rednecks that were doing this thing up in Dallas.
Right.
And they just pulled out, and two guys just ventilated the guy when he pulled his gun out. Like, I think it was a cop and a concealed carry guy. They just wasted this dude.
Yeah. Yeah, the guy up in Dallas, I remember that.
Mm-hmm. And they were like, okay, so I guess we can't do the terrorist thing here in Texas. No, it's not going to work.
Just got here. Would you repeat everything?
Can you just repeat everything you just said?
That's funny.
Who was that?
Daniel.
That's funny.
No, but you can replay it.
Get a free 7-day trial today by going to getmlscomps.com now. That's getmlscomps.com.
So I got this one dude, and I'm going to meet this guy in Houston, and we're going to have a little chitty chat, if I remember his name.
Yeah.
So our webinar is the same night as the Jet Lending event, right?
Yeah,
So I get this email from him, and he goes, we know it's the same night as the Jet Lending event. And I said, just so you know, we're a national company. So
yeah, right.
I said, Tom will be at the Jet Lending event. We'll have a whole bunch of people there.
Yeah, we can do more than one thing at a time.
We can do more than one thing at a time. Well, you know that's the Jet Lending event. And I'm like, well, I got 500 people registered for this thing, and they don't seem to have a problem making it to it.
Right.
So, but most of them are not in Houston. So
right.
I was like, we're a national company, man.
Yeah. Yeah, our San Francisco guys probably not going to make it to the
They're
Jet
not making
event.
it.
Our folks in Seattle, they're probably
not making it to the Jet.
Yeah. Our folks in Denver,
DFW,
yeah, Kansas City, Florida, New Jersey, yeah, Tennessee. You know, we've got a lot of students from Tennessee.
They're not going to make it.
Yeah,
not going to make it to the Jet event.
Right,
unfortunately.
Yeah. Although this is the first time, we don't want to go head to head with Jet very often. I mean, because just out of respect. But yeah, we've got.
I did the same thing last time. It was during the Jet event. You guys were there, and then the webinar's not that long.
Yeah.
So by the time I get done, I catch because the Jet event's on the way home. So I catch half the Jet event.
Right.
But it's like we got no other time we can do it. So
we're pretty busy on Tuesdays and Thursdays.
Yeah. And then we got that other event on Wednesdays, and Colby and I were talking about the fourth company we're putting together and how we want to structure that.
Right.
So
the fourth one or the fifth one?
The one that's not the fun.
Yeah, right.
I don't know what we call that, number 4 and number 5.
Right.
No further than Noble Mortgage. Noble Mortgage is a full-service mortgage company that's been helping investors since 2003.
Did
Noble
you read that
Mortgage
door
offers
hanger?
up to 100%
I did.
financing
So
to
I talked to him over the
investors that
phone,
covers
and then
To
when I
LT?
actually
repairs,
to
closing
Andy,
costs.
and then when I actually read it, I'm like, oh, that's brutal.
Yeah, it's not. Yeah, and LT caught it like that's not very compassionate.
That's not very nice.
Yeah.
For both residential
I like the
and
rewrite that
commercial
LT did.
Call and ask
Yeah,
for
I
the
sent it to
12-point
Andy. He's gonna fix it
guarantee,
up.
Which includes free pre-qualifications within 2 business days. Call 713-680-8100 or visit noblemoney.com. That's noblemoney.com. Our team has over 50 years experience.
Some of these, like when people post using only GIFs, what's the first thing you do in the morning? I don't even know how to use a GIF. Do you use GIFs?
Yeah, it's a new thing on Facebook. Let me see. Where's the like when you comment and then you hit? Oh, there it is. Where'd it go?
This is Business
Oh, right here.
Oh.
Call Jason or Tom at 713.
And then you can search through them and pick them.
Oh, God.
I always find Trump ones because it just makes everybody so angry.
All
I
right,
love it.
fellas. Hot mics in 3, 2, 1.
Welcome back, Right Path Real Estate Radio. So Jason and I both in the house. It's not a Wednesday. Don't adjust your watch or your clock or your calendar.
I'm sure a lot of people do that based on what we're doing on the radio show.
Right.
So Daniel sent us a question. Hey, I just got into the Facebook room here. Would you repeat everything you went over today? So we're going to go ahead and start from the beginning.
Welcome. It's Friday. Welcome to the show. Welcome to the show. No, we're not going to do that. So there was something else we were going to talk about.
We're talking about the weekend retreat. We got all these events coming up. So weekend retreat in Houston. If you're interested, send an email to support at Right Path Real Estate if you want to go, because I don't know if we have any seats left, and Veronica would know. So shoot an email to her. And for those of you who are new, let me explain the weekend retreat. This year we'll buy close to 200 houses, probably buy over 200 houses this year. And it's how to buy a house. I mean, it's really that. There's only 4 ways to make money in real estate. There's not 67 ways to buy a house and all that nonsense. There's 4 ways to make money in real estate. And we explain that whole process of how to find deals, how to fund deals, how to market for deals, and how to build your wealth and income.
And how to do it
using
full-time
real
or
estate.
part-time.
Yeah, full-time or part-time.
Using the time and money that you have. Some people have a lot of time, not much money. Some people have a lot of money, not much time. Some people have not much of either. That makes it harder. I mean, if you got no money, no time, that's to start any business, that's difficult.
So I got the question asked last night, hey, is this for new investors or seasoned investors? And I said, well, it's for both, because a lot of times we have to retrain the, quote, seasoned investors with what they've been told. So a lot of things that you may have learned from some other real estate education companies are really not applicable in the real world. Truth be told, it's kind of like the difference between academic and what we used to call pracademics, where you're actually implementing these things. So that's our weekend retreat, and highly recommend that you guys come out and see that. Like I said, if you want to come to the one in Houston, I think it's already sold out, but send an email to Veronica.
Yeah, the way I describe the weekend retreat is like if you and I were to go to lunch together, because that's really kind of how it started out. People asking us to lunch. It's like it's answering all the questions that you would have asked me. Not just you, but if I went to lunch with 100 people.
Yeah, they always ask the same questions.
That 90% of them are the same, but then there's 10% that are different. So it's 10% of the questions that you wouldn't ask because somebody else would think of it, but you didn't. And so it's all those questions that you would ask about how do I get started? What do I do? What about this? It's like, but it's running it as a business. And the distinction that we make there, I mean, one of the best stories that I like right now is like, hey, if you know how to bake a cake, doesn't mean that you know how to run a cake baking business that pumps out 1,000 cakes a day. Because you don't do one cake the way you do 1,000 cakes a day. It just it doesn't even, I mean, the output can look exactly the same, but all the input, all the processes, all the systems, all the, I mean, you know, your oven won't even look the same.
No.
I mean, it shouldn't. It absolutely
and you're not doing it at home.
No, right, yeah. Or you shouldn't be, anyhow.
Yeah.
So Mildred said on Facebook, when will you guys announce the opening of the new business? We have we're going to hold an open house meeting on that, right?
Yeah, so Tom and I are going to bring on some folks to work with us. So if you're interested in that, send an email to support at Right Path Real Estate. So a lot of people over the years have told us, oh, I wish I could have been there when you guys just started at Houston House Buyers, and would have been great to work with you guys. And I'm like, well, here's your chance. We're starting company number 4, and if you are interested in working with us from the ground up, I mean, this is like ground floor, right? Send an email to support at Right Path Real Estate, And we're going to have a how can I put this? A pre-opening event on Friday, but we want to have
a week from today.
A week from today, but we want to have a conversation with you, make sure you're a good fit, that sort of thing, before we bring you out to this event. It's going to be a very limited event, to see if that's something you're interested in. So shoot an email to support@RightPath Real Estate. But this will be our fourth company, and I'll tell you what. It's kind of like get on board now or don't, and the train is leaving, right? The train's leaving the station. So
yeah, next Friday's going to be like, board?
Yeah, everybody get on board. It's time to go. It's going to be a heck of a lot of fun. Colby and I got to spend some time planning this week. Actually, we were in L.A. too, chatting with Robert and a couple other guys. But it's going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be in the financial services and education space. And we're also going to do some things with insurance. So that sounds like something you might be interested in. Support at rightpathrealestate.com. So just got back from Dallas. Interesting event. Had a lot of questions. A lot of questions we get are, what makes you guys different than other real estate education companies? When I'm learning,
we get that one a lot.
Yeah, we get it all the time. And it's so funny. I was chatting with Colby about this, and we said, hey, what's the difference between you guys and somebody else? It's like real simple. We buy 200 houses a year. We buy them. That's the difference.
No, you mean your students, right?
No, we're buying. I mean, we ought to put the number up there with us and our students. It might be 400 houses.
Yeah, the problem
a
is most gurus, once they get started being a guru, they stop doing real estate, which means that anything that they're teaching is out of date in 90 days because the market changes. I mean, you look at, there's so many people that are teaching what worked in 2008 that doesn't work today.
Yeah,
and
buying HUD houses and foreclosures. Good luck with that.
Yeah,
that ship sailed 8 years ago.
You're right. Yeah,
I mean, 2009 was about it.
Yeah. So can you imagine? I mean, the gurus, do they know how to handle a situation like this? Because we're handling it live on the fly, right? We understand what the impact's going to be on this so we can teach people what we're doing now. In fact, even with our base camp students and last night we were talking about that hey, we had a great meeting last night.
Mm-hmm.
But what I recognize is, hey, look, we were discussing about what we're facing right now. A week from now, we're all going to have some experiences that we can address.
That's right.
And then the following week, and it's like this is going to be an evolving process, right? And but being able to do this in a group is just like in a mastermind group is incredible.
Yeah. Because we're all, and I'll tell you the other thing, we're all collecting information from different spaces,
exactly, right?
So I'm getting a lot of stuff from national lenders, big insurance companies. They're telling me what's coming down the pike, FEMA stuff. So whenever I do these Facebook Lives, guys, I'm getting information that some of it is not even public yet.
Right.
And I shared some of that stuff yesterday. And so you've got to, that's where we're getting a lot of our data from. Plus, we've got all the boots on the ground, right? Not only our operation. I was chatting with one of our guys yesterday, one of our students. They've got 8 houses for the month so far. So I think we're getting pretty close to being the largest. Our group will be the largest home buyer in the city of Houston when you add them all together. I mean, it's a lot of houses. So I was just thinking when you were talking about gurus, teaching and all that stuff, there will be a guru 5 years from now that'll put together a book or something, a CD series.
About how to buy flood houses?
About how to buy flood houses, right? And it's like, you're 5 years too late, bro. Right. That was 5 years ago. Like, how to buy houses in Harvey. And it's like, that 5 years ago. Now we're on to the next thing at that point. So they're always, what is it, a day late and a dollar short.
Well, one of the things we were talking about last night is, in a lot of these flooded neighborhoods, one of the factors you have to take into consideration is that if you're the first to jump in there and buy right now, you get the house rehabbed and all that, and all the other neighbors are not, some of these houses, people are just going to literally walk away from their homes. And so what happens when you have an 80% vacancy rate in a neighborhood and all those houses they've not been remediated, they still have mold in them, the mortgage company doesn't want to foreclose on them, they're these zombie houses, right? Can you go and sell your recently rehab, look like brand new house? I mean, who wants to live in? I mean, are you really safe in that neighborhood? Now, Texas, we carry.
Yeah,
but
I kid you not. My wife is just chatting with this new lady in our neighborhood. Hey, what's going on? Where'd you come from? Oh, I got flooded out in Westbury, and my neighborhood is 80% vacant.
Yeah.
And we just moved our kids and everybody down here to Sugar Land, and then we'll sort out the Westbury Meyerland thing. They're like, we don't think it's safe to live there right now because there's nobody there.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah.
So that's going to happen. And what's the impact for a real estate investor, even if you're a landlord? I hear this a lot. Like,
but I bought the house, Jason. I bought the house. I got a really good deal on it.
Yeah, and can you rent it out if half the neighborhood's vacant? Right. So those are the issues. And I'll tell you right now, FEMA's not coming in to save this. The county's not coming in to save this. You got to fix it. If you don't fix these houses up, if you personally as a homeowner don't do it, a real estate investor has to do it. So that's one of the reasons why we were building this fund and doing a couple other things.
Yeah, because it's not like banks are going to foreclose on these houses and then fix them up.
Stuff I've been reading lately is that there's going to be a 12-month forbearance. So these people aren't going to pay mortgages for 12 months. The houses aren't going to get fixed, and it'll finally...
But what I heard about the forbearance is although you don't have to make payments... your interest is still accruing. It's not like they're just like putting
absolutely. No, they'll drop all this stuff on the back end of the loan, right?
Yeah, right.
So they still owe all that money.
So you'll owe more money 12 months from now than you will today. It's not like they're just putting a freeze, like a pause button, like your loan just picks up in 12 months after making no payments. That doesn't play that way.
Well, it's very similar to a lot of the mortgage workouts where they'll sit there and what do they call it? Where they go in and modify the note. Well, it's not a short sale. When they go in and modify it, they do the loan mod, right? Yeah. And you go and look and they try and sell the house and they go, oh, I got my principal reduced and all that. And they realize there's a back end on these notes. So it doesn't, at the end of the day, folks, the longer it takes to fix the problem, the worse it's going to get. And I think people who are selling properties right now saying, oh my gosh, the market's fine, you are living in a dream world, dude. I mean, if that neighborhood took a lot of water, and I said this on the live broadcast yesterday, I said, even if your house wasn't flooded and your neighbors took water, your values are impacted.
Yes.
It may not, now, just because it hasn't happened today doesn't mean it won't happen, but I'm telling you there's going to be an impact. Now, for neighborhoods that had no flooded houses, I think you're going to see some appreciation. But for everybody else, if your house took water or your neighbor's house took water, depending on how much water, how many times it's been flooded, all that's all going to impact the value, and not in a positive way.
Yeah, you can keep talking. I was just going to type on here. Yeah.
So I think when you look at what neighborhoods I should invest in, what neighborhoods I should buy in to live in, you need to be extremely careful. Like we're in, no pun intended, uncharted waters here. We really are. So for those of you who are selling stuff, seeing things that are getting sold on the market, keep in mind there's a shadow inventory. I remember everyone talking about the shadow inventory for years, although that never came to fruition, right? There's a real shadow inventory of distressed assets that have been adversely impacted by the storm. So we get back from the break, we're going to talk more about what you can do and how to evaluate what those houses are worth. Jason Bible, Tom Perry, Right Path Real Estate.
Mic's off.
Are you a realtor or seller that is concerned about the new TRID rules and closing on time? I'm Jennifer Hernandez, Senior Loan Officer at Legacy Mutual Mortgage, and we have mastered the 30-day close. We close on time, accurately, and with tons of communication. You'll have a dedicated team of a coordinator and a contract-to-close associate. Give me a call today at 713-579-3611, and let's talk about how we can help you on your next transaction. NMLS 514497.
Are you looking for an investor-friendly general contractor for your investment property?
I talked to a guy yesterday.
742-9992.
You know, he's listened to Fast Track talking about $10 a square foot for sheetrock, you know, based on the affected area and percentage and all that.
Family investment properties, whether it's a flip, rehab, or a rental rehab.
He's decided to get into the sheetrock business because there's an opportunity a lot of people need to get sheetrock, right?
Manage it all. So give us a
he
call
misunderstood.
Today,
He's been selling sheetrock jobs for $10 per wall square foot, and people are paying it $17,000 to replace from 4 foot down on a 2,200 square foot house.
What?
And I'm like, oh my God. He was telling me the story last night, and I was like, dude, you missed. How in the world are you getting people to pay that? He goes, yeah,
holy cow.
And apparently, and you would think he's just killing it on margin, but he's not, because the crews that he got, they're making 80% of the money. They're the ones banking it. He's making like so he's making like $3,500 on a $17,000 job, and the cost on that should be
it's almost zero, right?
It should be like $3,500,
yeah.
But they're making 80% of 17 grand.
Man, you want to talk about fleecing people? That's awful. How do you even sleep at night?
Yeah, well, he didn't know. He honestly didn't know
Yeah.
because he didn't know that what the real costs were, and he said he's bought like 10 pallets of sheetrock. And at that volume, he's getting it for like about $8 a sheet. Yeah, less than $9 a sheet.
Yeah, and how many square feet's a sheet?
32. It's 4 by 8, right? That's 30. Yeah, so he's charging $320 a sheet. Yeah,
that's like 3 times as expensive as a retail roof.
Right. Yeah. Right. Yeah, exactly. Right.
No, twice. It's probably twice, right? What's is it 250?
Well, that'd be
250 a square.
It's about 300 a square. And so that'd be like $960 a square.
Yeah.
Because that'd be 96 square feet in a.
How much would it help you if you no
Yeah.
longer have
Holy cow! Yeah, it's about 3 times, isn't it?
Yeah, 3 times what
That's
a roof
insane.
I know, right?
That's insane.
He goes, oh man, I need to go back and refund it.
access to high equity lead lists and comps.
He's a really good guy. I mean, he's real honest and all that. I can tell you off air who he is.
Get an edge on everyone else. Get a free
And you almost want to so you almost say, so how do we get into that business exactly? He's gonna make a killing. That's insane.
1 minute.
The problem is you don't know how much it's worth, or more importantly, what to do to maximize your investment while mitigating risk. This is exactly why we started Next Gen Appraisals. Next Gen is a group of appraisers specializing in investment real estate. We understand that investors aren't.
So we got 2 questions. We'll get to right after the break.
But a comprehensive analysis of the market. Give Next Gen a call at 713-346-9911 or check us out online at nextgenappraisals.com.
So Michael, I'll get to your question right after the break, and Mildred, I'll get to yours quickly as well.
Why settle for mediocre results? There's a better place to invest.
I'll tell you, one of the things we're going to tell you guys is it's a complicated answer. It probably need to be.
Well, you know what's interesting is what, in fact, Michael, what I'm going to tell you is I think you joined the question late or the show late because at the beginning of the show, that's exactly what I was talking about. That it's not a formula and went into the fact that the 70% minus repairs, that discount percent is really a lending formula. But it does also work 10% closing costs, 10% profit, 10% carrying costs.
713-785-1817. Or look for
All right,
us on
fellas,
Facebook
hot
Live
mics in 3, 2, 1.
Right Path Real Estate.
All right, we're on our short segment, so we're going to get right into it. Michael asked a question, what discount are investors buying flooded homes at? And that's a complicated question. Go back and listen to the beginning of the show because, even the 70% minus repairs, that's a lending formula. And so what you've got to do is you've got to be able to accurately answer the ARV question. What do you think that the ARV is going to be in the future when there's a whole lot more properties on the market? You know, it's a supply and demand issue, and it's part economics. You have to become really a master's or PhD in economics, but it's also part psychology as well because that does affect, the economics. It's like what's mama going to think about living in a house that flooded once, versus one that's not.
Did it flood 18 inches or was it 6 feet?
Right. Yeah.
Because
Exactly.
18 inches is like probably won't flood again. 6 feet.
Yeah.
That's kind of scary.
Yeah, it is. Right. Yeah.
It's
then
wild.
Mildred said, how would you start investing in Houston now after all this flooding? I do only creative financing. Now I'm at a standstill. Well, you're probably doing creative financing because you don't have the skill set to raise money. And so what I would recommend is you need to go to our weekend retreat and learn how to raise money. Or start coming to some of our free events when we're talking about that as well. But the only reason why I know people do creative financing is typically they've gone to Phil Grove's event and learned how to do the sub 2 stuff, which we're not against doing sub 2, but it's a very specialized tool. When it fits, it works, but it doesn't work all the time. And so you're really handcuffing yourself in terms of finding deals. That should be a tool in your toolbox, but you should have a lot more tools in your toolbox. It's like you're a plumber and you're going out and you've got 1 or 2 tools. You need about, a couple of hundred tools in your toolbox if you're a plumber.
What worries me about people who do sub 2, most of the people I know that do subject to as a business model are those that don't qualify for financing.
Right.
And so if you don't qualify for financing, you don't need to be taking over people's loans.
Yeah.
That's a huge problem, right? Does anybody see the ethical dilemma there?
Yeah, because if let's say you have 50 subject to houses and you've put your promise to pay those mortgages no matter what to these people that you're buying the houses from, and let's say that 20 of them got flooded, and you don't have the resources to do that because you don't have the resources to raise the money. So you're doing a disservice to the marketplace. But that being said, then Rhett. Bear said, just sold a flooded house in the Baton Rouge area that flooded last August. ARVs are up 15 to 20K post-flood.
All right, 1
Yeah,
minute.
it depends. We see the same thing in Houston, but it's really going to depend on the market.
Yeah, and I wouldn't say that the Baton Rouge market and the Houston market are anywhere close to the same markets.
Yeah, it's a little bit different.
All right, so you want to find out about our future events coming up, then go to rightpathrealestate.com. If you are interested in going to the weekend retreat as a VIP, sorry, the next time you can do that is the Dallas event, October 20th, 21st, and 22nd. And then
30 seconds.
Oh, okay. And then, yeah. And then
next event, I'll see you guys in Corpus tomorrow. And then our next Houston event is
next Thursday.
Next Thursday. And I think I'm talking about
marketing.
Yeah. So I'll teach you guys how to find deals.
Yeah.
So go to rightpathrealestate.com, click on event, and you can pull up the
10
calendar, and
seconds.
it's got everything on there. So we will see you guys bright-eyed, bushy-tailed Monday morning. Thanks for listening.
All right, fellas. Have a good weekend.
All right, thanks, you too.
All right,
bye, Facebook folks. Yeah, Rhett, what you saying, low inventory drivers. Yeah, that's exactly what it's supply and demand, right? When there's more demand, less supply. Ginger 543. No, it's 321. All right, talk to you later. Bye.
5 3/4 and
yeah.